Yale hat on. Mita went to Columbia. I don't know. This could go any which way.
It's all good. My football team is Ohio State, so no worries. Mita, love everything you're saying, and I have lots more questions. But one is, who is your biggest professional ally? Who is that? And it doesn't have to be a name, but who is it? And what does that person do beyond the access, amplify, and advocate? I'm looking for like a definition of someone who you think is fantastic, because I'm looking for role models.
Well, I include him in my book. His name's Jonathan Atwood. What's Jonathan doing now in London? God, I think he's working for the British Tobacco Company. But here's some things he did for me as a career sponsor. I'll never forget the night before I was going to present to the board, he had me meet him in his office. And I was like, I already did the pre-read. I just want to go home to my kids. Like, why are we having this meeting? And he was on that board and he said to me, well, I want you to know how everybody's going to respond to your proposal. John's pissed because this thing didn't happen. Scott's going to be distracted because there's a supply chain issue. Adam's going to say this. Kathy's not going to care because she's pissed that her proposal was rejected. And I was like, wow. So he's the first person in my career who helped me think about a political read of the room. I used to just go in with a proposal and be ready to deliver a monologue. And so that was really like, wow. And he's one of the first people who showed me real kindness and empathy at work. I lost my dad quite suddenly in 2017. And I was supposed to present at this big conference for Walmart. And I actually tried to cancel it 3 times. And I didn't want to go and present. It was with Gina Davis. I was like a mess. It was like 3 months after my dad died. He went down with me. He took me out the night before my talk and talked to me about how his dad had suddenly died, because we don't really talk about grief in the workplace. No one really talks about it. And he and his team were there with me, helped me prep. Were there in the audience when I was there for this panel. And did my keynote. So anyways, those are just some ways, again, people like getting to know each other and showing up for each other in unexpected ways. And I have much more. I've been really privileged. I have a lot of career sponsors in my life, and some of them are in the book.
Mita, how have you developed those relationships? Have they just happened organically, or do you ever seek them out?
So yeah, I do. And I always joke, it's not a Taylor Swift concert. We're not giving out friendship bracelets. So I don't run up to Scott, who's the chief marketing officer, and be like, will you be my sponsor? No, it's about the work. So even my relationship with Jonathan, I talk about, or like Gail Tifford, who some of you may know, who's the head of Unilever Media, and at one point was the chief brand officer of WW. All these relationships was about the work. We connected on the work because I was leading something that they were invested in or overlapped with, and I let them know that they should be interested in it. So our relationships developed over time from that, but it is very different than me asking Scott to get coffee and asking about his career journey. That's a valid conversation. That's great, but that's more mentorship versus, hey, Scott, I'm putting this proposal together. My boss asked me to put it together, but I actually know, given you sitting in finance, you're going to want to know what this analysis looks like. I'm going to set up time with you to show you the proposal. You see the difference? And so then like there's ownership, there's co-ownership that I'm creating about the work that I'm doing. And that's how a sponsorship relationship develops, based on the work versus mentorship. And then of course they're just amazing human beings I'm still in touch with over the years, but it really started based on the work in our workplaces.
I'm interested